let's talk about something we've all felt, right? That crazy magnetic pull of our phones, that feeling that social media is just impossible to put down. Well, today, we're going to find out exactly why that is. You know the feeling? You just pick up your phone to check one little thing, and then bam, an hour, maybe more, has completely vanished down this digital rabbit hole. If you've ever found yourself wondering, wait, where did the time go? You are definitely not alone. And the answer is a lot more intentional than you'd probably guess. But what if I told you that all that lost time isn't some failure of your own willpower? What if that feeling of being sucked in? What if it's not a glitch in the system? It's the system itself. It's not a bug. It's the main feature. And it is 100% by design. Okay, so let's get into how they do it. Social media platforms, they operate in what's called an attention economy. And what that really means is that your time, your focus, that's their product. It's what they sell. So to make as much money as possible, they've developed this incredibly powerful toolkit built for just one thing, to get your attention and hold on to it for as long as humanly possible. A huge piece of this strategy comes down to a concept called dark patterns. Now, this isn't about making an app easy or fun to use. It's about making it hard to leave. The key word here is manipulate. It's a design philosophy that from the ground up intentionally stacks the deck against you.
And look, this isn't just some catchy term someone made up. A 2021 study by Liguri and Strahilovitz spells it out in black and white. The intent is crystal clear. That confusion, that feeling of being manipulated, it's a deliberate choice being made by designers.
So what's actually in this toolkit? Well, it's a really potent mix. You've got these hyper-personalized algorithms that learn exactly what keeps you glued to the screen. You've got infinite scroll and autoplay, which completely remove any natural point to stop and think, should I keep doing this? But maybe the most powerful tool of all is something called intermittent reinforcement. It works just like a slot machine. That unpredictable reward of finding one amazing post keeps you pulling the lever, or, scrolling, over and over again.
So why do these tools work so well? It's simple, really. They're built to hack our brains. They tap directly into our most basic psychological and neurological wiring.
And I'm not speaking in metaphors here. This is literal. A neuroimaging study actually found that when we watch personalized videos, like the ones on TikTok's For You page, it lights up the exact same reward centers in our brain that are linked to addiction. Your brain is literally getting a little dopamine hit that it starts to crave, and that's why it is so hard to just look away. This all creates a really powerful psychological loop. It often kicks off with the fear of missing out, FOMO, which makes us feel like we have to log on. But once we're there, we immediately fall into this trap of social comparison, right? We're measuring our own lives against these highlight reels of everyone else. And the research shows this pretty consistently leads to lower self-esteem. And here's the really cruel twist. That bad feeling actually drives us to seek more validation online, which just throws us deeper into the exact same cycle that made us feel bad in the first place.
Okay, so we've covered the how and the why. But what does this all actually mean? What are the real-world consequences of being stuck in this loop? Well, the side effects of all this engineered engagement are becoming clearer and clearer, and honestly, they're affecting all of us.
Just take a look at this study of teenagers in Bangladesh. More than half of them said that they know mindless scrolling is having a negative effect on them. Now think about that for a second. They can feel the impact, they are aware of the harm, but breaking the habit still feels almost impossible. And the documented impacts for young people are pretty alarming. Study after study links this kind of problematic social media use to a whole host of serious issues. Everything from increased anxiety and depression to poor sleep and, maybe most critically, a decline in the ability to actually form meaningful social bonds in the real world.
But hey, don't think for a second this is just a problem for kids. Those same habits, those same psychological hooks, they follow us right into adulthood. And they are having a massive impact on the professional world. And how big of an impact are we talking? Well, one estimate found that what researchers call cyber loafing, which is basically just using work time for personal scrolling, costs organizations in the US an absolutely staggering $85 billion every single year in lost productivity.
And, beyond the huge financial cost, there's a personal one. A survey of professionals found that more than half of them feel guilty or anxious after scrolling during work hours. Over a third of them believe it directly hurts their productivity. And maybe the most telling number of all, almost a quarter of them admitted to scrolling during work meetings. That just shows you how powerful this compulsion really is.
So, I know, this can all feel pretty bleak. It can feel a little overwhelming, but it is not hopeless. There are absolutely steps we can take to push back against these designs and reclaim our most valuable resource, our own attention. So on a large scale, the momentum for change is actually building. The EU is looking at legislation to specifically target addictive design. Here in the US, there are growing calls to reform laws like Section 230, which protects platforms from liability. The ultimate goal of all these efforts is to fundamentally change the financial incentives, to force these platforms to prioritize our well-being over just keeping us hooked.
But the good news is, we don't have to just sit around and wait for the lawmakers to figure it out. This slide really captures a choice that we can make every single time we pick up our phones. We can choose to shift from mindless scrolling, where we're just passive passengers on the algorithm's wild ride, to mindful scrolling, where we engage with purpose, deliberately, and stay in control of our own experience.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. We live in an economy where our attention is the actual product being bought and sold. So for all the hours of your focus that you give away, day after day, you really have to ask yourself, are you getting a fair price?